Expanded it. It's pretty cool. All right. P.S. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
And it's another Friday, and we told you that we'd be doing this weekly. So,
Yes.
where we left off last week, Paul, was we talked about electric garages,
Electric garages.
the recycling project,
Yeah.
the growing ears in a petri dish, and hog beings, right?
Yeah.
So this is another week. So looking out at the window, I know that it's going to be a good day because there's an awesome sunrise. So
it's kind
good
of the
morning.
best it's kind of
awesome.
the best temperature right now.
Yeah, it's like
Here in the
64,
Midwest.
right? And it's
Yeah, it's been dreadful in the past couple of days.
and I also heard something about last week that after a certain day, now our days are going to get shorter. Because we're to that point of the year to where we've got past our longest day of the summer, so now our sunsets are going to be earlier and earlier and earlier until winter or something like that.
It'd be interesting to see, like in the next couple of years, as you've heard of the polar shift, right?
Mm-hmm.
Polar
Gets
shift
it
is
on and
happening.
off, yes.
Yeah, they had to change the sectional maps for aircraft because the magnetic the runways numbers have changed because usually they're oriented toward the direction of where the compass is, and so that's how you navigate with your compass.
And I guess throughout history it happens like every so many billions of years, right? Or
Like
something
100,000. Like I think the last one was 450 million years.
And isn't there a way where they could actually see it in certain plants to where they were looking and somehow like in the middle of a certain year, like the rings of a tree, or they could just see something change in the plant's fiber to indicate that there was a polar change.
Yeah. I mean, they could do it in like the sediment of the ground. Like they could see like you said, like the rings. There's different things that you can see. But it'd be interesting to see because I think one that event happened, but nothing. They consider the scientists say that nothing significant happened. But of course, we're in the age of technology.
Yes.
So who knows?
To me, it's almost like
Wait, cars won't work anymore. We'll have to be walking.
it just made me a flashback of Y2K.
I know, right?
Everybody's panicking.
It's like what? We should just go ahead and make bicycles. You and I just go ahead and make bicycles, so that you could like pedal. It's gonna be the way to work now.
Yeah.
You'll feel you'll be healthier. That's for sure.
I wonder. Yeah. Well, it's just really hard to say. It's probably just a thing that we'll have to adjust to no matter what, because nature says, "Hey, your south is north, your north is south," which is already is, right? So it's now your north is really north, your south is really south.
You see, the problem is there's several things. A lot of people just see that as the orientation wise, but what happens is these our current our current magnetic forces protect us from the sun's radiation because it serves as like a force field almost.
Right.
And so when the polar shift happens, we are vulnerable to whatever the sun's radiation is. So that moment of where it kind of flips, it could flip or it could be like it could go like break all over the place and have several magnet poles. It creates this hole in our force field, and so when the sun hits the radiation, you'll have like people can get sick.
So it's almost like when the lights flicker, you're thinking.
What do you mean when the lights flicker?
So okay,
What do
so
you mean
know
when the
like
lights
when there's a
flicker?
big storm outside,
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden you're watching your TV, and then the lights flicker.
yeah.
In that flicker, you feel vulnerable, right? And it's like our Earth is vulnerable because it's flickering as it's going from one switch to the other.
Yeah.
I think of it as like an on-off switch, but someone's going. So
like in a high school, like somebody in the gym just kind of goes like this.
And everybody's like, every time that happens, everybody gets excited and they have an anxiety. And I think that when that polarization happens, technically we may be vulnerable to whatever is brought in. But I think the Earth is round, right? So I just feel like it's just
Yeah.
it's just teetering, and then just gonna and it is what it is.
So there are a couple theories on that, you know, because like one of them says that because of the magnetic forces will flip, that the course of the Earth's rotation will be the other way. It'll go the other way.
I don't
know if that can
think
happen. I
that,
can
no.
see there's several theories on that, but it's a possibility. But I don't think.
I just think
mean-
it's just gonna mess with our technology more than anything and our compasses. You know, I don't know.
I don't know.
Or we'll just have this big giant Bermuda Triangle zones. You know that.
Yeah, where like you
occurs.
can't navigate through it because it's got a big whatever.
Yeah.
The magnet, the compass goes all over the place.
And then this whole theory. I mean, I wonder what those flat earthers say. What's gonna happen?
Well, it's funny because okay, so most modern aircraft fly by GPS now, and so the FAA is the only one that hasn't really recognized that we fly by GPS now.
You can farm by GPS now too.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty neat.
Wait, so you can navigate via GPS. So instead of compass, you can do it. But when your GPS goes down, you've got to rely on compass. Carrier pigeon. That's all I can say.
Anyway, I know that we were talking about a lot about the future in our last segment, right?
Yes, there's a lot about the future.
I was thinking about schools, and I wanted to bring up the topic of.
Are you talking colleges or just regular schools?
High schools right now.
Schools,
I mean, because right now, in a lot of different places, even in I grew up in Northwest Iowa, kind of rural and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But whether it's rural or city, it seems like the schools have a problem with overcrowding, or having a problem of not having enough space, right?
So what's your proposition?
Well, what I can see what things will turn into is, right now, Google has this huge infrastructure of technology that can get data here to there in these network hubs really quick, right? It's so quick right now that they're coming out with this thing called Google Stadia, which is an online gaming platform where people can basically not have a need for a console, and they can just play on any device seamlessly without any lag and stuff.
Oh wow!
Well,
so
you take that same concept, and right now parents are scared of taking their kids to school because of the dangers of that we didn't have to face. The shootings and just all sorts of things that can take place in school. Well, what if? And then you have other people that are, supporting homeschooling, right?
Right.
So if you take the combination of those two, you could have the best of both worlds if basically our homes became a hub for just logging into a classroom. Because you're already doing it in colleges on the level.
I mean, just think of it. Yeah, I mean, I love that concept where
e-courses, right?
Where you can put on your virtual glasses and be in the classroom without being in the classroom.
Right. You can still get the information, and you can still work on projects with other team members. But now we're talking about a high school level because there's just more and more people occupying space, and it's hard to get funding to get these schools, and
so
people are concerned about taxes being raised because, oh no, we have to update our school, or we need more classrooms, and all that adds up to the family trying to support their kids and also want to provide for education, right?
A couple advantages I like about that particular scenario. Number one, obviously the security issue. Number two, I like the fact that teachers don't have to be in the classroom. Right. They can be in any environment they want to be in. They could be at the library, whatever. And if they can conduct their classes, everyone will build their own avatar, right? So they're like, it can be it'd be awesome. I mean, you could basically teach a class, in what may be a different environment. It looks like something cool. You can do it like, hey, we're going to talk about Paris? Let's go to Paris. Let's walk through virtually. Let's go to the Louvre and let's go walk around.
Speaking of Louvre, they've already got that where you can actually tour it on the virtual world online.
On 360.
So if you've never been there.
Around,
So I think that's where, Google, they made the Google glasses a long time ago. I don't think it really took off like they wanted to, but the technology and the
Yeah.
application's still there. But I don't think
Absolutely.
anybody decided to apply it to education. And
I think it's a
for
great idea.
a security thing, everybody feels safe. You're at home.
You're at home.
You can wear whatever you want. Like you said, you have an avatar. You
Yeah.
can do whatever you want. And I'm pretty sure that if the teacher wanted to take a field trip, instead of spending all this money to get everybody on a bus and then worry about
Yeah,
their
sure.
safety throughout all these different places, the teacher can go alone, put on these Google glasses, and physically do the tour by
You're
themselves.
going out. Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody could see what the teacher's talking about, and the teacher can
Yeah.
continue to give the history background
Right.
behind
See,
whatever it is and stuff like
exactly.
that. So I feel that I think the future and the problem that we face today is only going to become a bigger problem unless there's a solution that would incorporate the technology that me and you are talking about today.
Absolutely.
Even medically, they are having a way for you to like video conference your doctor,
Oh yeah.
and they can take a look at whatever is going on,
Sure.
and maybe even prescribe over your video conference what you need.
It was absolutely. I mean, that would be great in the rural areas
Mhm.
where they can't, especially if somebody's sick,
Yeah,
really, really bad.
right.
Yeah.
The thing about the rural area too, though, sometimes the
Yeah.
rural areas don't have the best internet,
No.
so it's like you gotta kind of
Yeah,
have
balance,
both, or you
yeah.
have to let that technology grow into those rural
Sure.
areas. But I heard that I think it was it Amazon or was it Google? One of the two was wanting to put satellites all the way around the world to provide internet,
So linking yeah.
and it could also
That's
be
interesting.
a defense thing for kind of like that Reagan Star Wars thing for security, and almost like an Iron Man type thing, right? Where you have all these satellites, and then not only will they provide internet, but they can also use those satellites to monitor any incoming dangers.
Well, I think the technology is there. I think that they're still, what drives technology is in most cases is monetization, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's something you got to figure out a way to make money. But really, the technology is there where you can shoot, whatever Wi-Fi signal from the satellite to your phone, right?
Mhm.
And then your phone can be basically a Wi-Fi hub. And so, if they can kind of forget about monetization for a 2nd
Mhm.
and like hit the button, so every phone would link, would be like a relay station, so to speak, and then everyone can have internet, right? So it's like even if you're in the rural area, it would find another phone close by, jump on that, then it would jump on something else, and then because then you could have this web
Right.
of phones that are interlinked so that so the people in rural areas can have satellite or can have Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of cool too. And the technology is there.
Of course, security will always be an issue, but
Yeah,
it
sure.
already is an issue.
I mean, they put it this way: our security methods have not caught up with the technology that we produce.
Mm-mm.
I mean, it's just, and then we have these guys that have been working in the technology, know that they're back doors, and that's it. And
Yeah.
that's the vulnerability that we face. Is for everyone that every program that we develop, there's always something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of the monetization thing.
So, with the future going the way that if it went the way that we just talked about, do you think people would actually have people skills, like actually know how to really conversate and have a good sense of empathy and emotional connection?
I don't know. I think we're seeing right now.
Because learning
The
and
disconnect.
education is one thing, right?
Yeah.
You don't need the emotional connection, I guess, to learn information and facts. But going to school, actually,
Yeah.
physically going to school helps you with some social skills
Right.
that you wouldn't get if you were just cooped up at home behind a monitor.
I think the we're starting to see some of that happening. A lot of people they're in fact in teens today, and millennials are. You can see a lot of depression, and this. Even though you're on the social media, it doesn't mean that you're interacting with people in a true sense,
Right.
you
You're
don't
still not
see,
getting that
yeah.
hug, that physical hug
Yeah, exactly.
or handshake.
Or seeing the facial expressions, or because a lot of things can be misinterpreted. Yeah, but they said the same thing about the phone, back in the day. So I don't know. Everything goes in circles, right?
Yeah. The funny thing about a phone, it was like the minute you got into that time frame to where you got charged only this much, or you didn't get charged anything between this hour and this hour.
Yeah.
Man, it's hard to get somebody off the phone in your household. Hey, get off the phone! I'm expecting a phone call. You don't hear
Yeah,
that
exactly.
anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's like unlimited data, unlimited minutes.
What's funny? I was listening to a comedian. He said something about the phone where you were angry at somebody, you can just slam it on the ground real hard and and then do whatever. Yeah, you can't do that with your phone. You're like, oh man.
And then came
You
the
just
newer
hang up.
phones, right? Where the old school phones, they don't remember this, but it actually kind of had a ring to it, right?
Yeah.
Then when you got to the digital, tone ones, if you got mad, what would you just, I'm gonna push this button really hard instead of slam it down, And then you got the cell phones, where I've had a
cell
lot
phones,
of friends that have broke phones many a times because they got frustrated and they just threw their phone.
Yeah, just
So,
through the phones.
but yeah, I just think the future is, if they want people to, I just see the aspect of overcrowding and not having enough money to build more buildings. I think homeschooling slash
Sure.
having a real teacher is
No,
going
that
to come
makes
into play.
sense. Especially if, like you said, overcrowding, right?
No bus routes.
Bus
wow.
route, yeah, exactly.
Please, you can start school later because you don't have kids school, or you can start school earlier.
Looks like in California, what they do is, have you heard that the school that runs all the time? So what they've done is, so they have two schedules. One that runs through summer, and then they're off, on the flip side. Have you seen that?
I've heard about that many years ago.
Yeah, where they it's just the school is just continuously
Yeah.
on the whole year, and when there's summer vacation, that's when actually classes are being conducted. So their summertime's flipped; it's on the other end,
Right.
which would be fall or whatever. When the guys are coming off, they're on, and then they're the other. They just kind of flip. So and there's parts where they intersect, right? Because you'll have the classes ongoing and stuff.
So, speaking of classes, then, with everything being driven toward technology, video, and stuff like this, does that mean that you really could not need to have a schedule? You could take all the classes that you wanted because you fit it into your schedule, instead of saying, I remember in high school, I want to take this class. Oh, but then this period.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And this period conflicts, so I can't choose both because it's on the same hour.
Well,
now you can almost
yeah.
pick your whole class, and it wouldn't matter about your schedule, because if it didn't work for you on that hour, you either could go to a previous recorded class, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or that could provide more jobs for more teachers that were available at certain hours too.
Well, think of it this way, right? So this is almost a way to optimize that whole thing, right? So a scenario, a history teacher, he does his lecture in the classroom. You record it once,
Yeah.
and then you plug it in 10 years. You have a whole row. It's the same stuff, right? It's the same stuff. He just does it once.
Yeah.
But then he gets the money for every year that they enroll, right? So more people
It's
enroll,
his
the more
rights.
money. Yes.
His rights to his video of
Exactly
teaching.
right, yeah.
It's like
monetizing. He's
It'd be
set,
like-
right?
Yeah, like
He
an
doesn't have to
episode, like a
show up.
sitcom.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
There were
you're
reruns of,
you're
like-
airing my show.
Yeah,
You're airing my
yeah.
teachings.
And so what he could do is he could even randomize the questions for the test.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a test, whatever. You just kind of hit the button, randomize it, So no test is ever the same.
Right, but the content
Yeah.
that he teaches is always the
Always the
same.
same.
You just
And
get,
the computer would already know the answers, and
Right.
you wouldn't have to like subjectively, oh, do I like this student or I don't like this student?
hey, that's pretty smart. I think that could be something, because here's the thing: if you we were talking about this class, right? So no longer would a kid feel like he's not getting the right education
Sure.
because he can just log into the professor that's
Right.
known for teaching great subject matter.
Yeah.
So now, no matter where you live, whether
Yeah.
you live in the
No,
projects
so-
or the suburbs, you can get a great education because you get a choice to choose your
So-
teacher now.
So now this crushes the
This
whole.
would be cool.
This crushes.
This is awesome.
This crushes the brick and mortar colleges
Mm-hmm.
because now the
You
professor,
heard it here first.
the professor is the one who is branded.
Yeah.
He is branding his style of teaching.
Yes.
And either he's in Yale or he's in Harvard, it doesn't matter anymore. He can basically teach whatever his class is.
Mm-hmm.
He's known for being the top teacher in his environment. People
Right.
pay for that.
Not
Maybe even like a monthly subscription.
teachers can now be competitive and
Yeah.
be a brand of their own.
Yeah, and
'Cause
so
it's not just the content;
Yes.
it's the teacher.
So
and if
the-
you can
right.
teach, you're doing
so the
Right.
weaker teacher or the,
Well,
the
actually-
less popular teacher, he's out of there.
or the teaching methods for everybody has a different learning curve, right?
Right.
So if I don't like this style of teaching,
Yeah,
I
sure.
can go to a different teacher
Yeah.
that teaches totally different because
Yeah.
one teacher might use
Oh
more
yeah,
pictures
exactly right.
and
or
visualizations.
One would be, or one would be more technical and
Yeah.
provide more technical.
So you get to choose your style of teacher
For
and-
you.
Yeah. And that can be a whole new business as itself.
You know, yeah, basically you can fill out a profile.
We just started
Dude,
something
this is
great.
it.
This is awesome.
We could start our own university.
Yeah.
P.S. Good morning.
It's like matchmaking
college.
teacher. You know what I mean? Instead of like dating sites, you're trying to find the right teacher.
school,
You're trying to
right
find
classes, right. Yes, you brand the whole teachers.
Yeah. You brand the teachers.
Have teachers. That's
You
amazing.
pick your curriculum on
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
want to learn, and you get to choose from
From
the
whatever
top,
topics, yeah,
whatever.
from the top. Oh yeah.
You can choose female,
You can-
male, or
I mean, literally, you can get old lectures and buy the rights from the teachers, and
You-
then load them.
And if you don't understand or can't speak English or whatever, you can get a teacher
You can hit the button
from another language.
No,
Yeah.
well, no, you can just hit the button; it'll translate automatically for you.
I think that we just solved a problem, I believe,
Like-
on a grand scale of no kid being left out or no adult being left
So-
out, because now you're taking education on a global level
Yeah.
through technology and through customization of your learning
And
style.
branding of the professor. I mean, can you imagine?
And these
he does
tests,
it
right?
once,
These tests are on a state level or federal level, right?
right?
So now, as a nation, we can get everybody up to a standard
Yeah, exactly.
and be that nation that we like. If we're competing with
Sure.
other places,
Yeah, because
I
you know, kids nowadays they probably don't want to sit through a 2-hour lecture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this whole thing of presenting the material in a creative and inventive way
right?
and customizing it to the learning style of that student.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine the potential of that?
That's huge. That's huge.
I mean, I would have liked to not have paid, $3,000 a semester. I mean, can I have some of that money back?
Right.
It's like, can I have some of the money back? Because like now it's like that would be great.
I think we got something
I
great.
think we got something.
If anybody out there is on this, idea, or it just sparks something in you, contact us. Let's
Yeah,
talk about it. Let's see how we
absolutely.
can actually make
This
this
could
a
be
real
great.
thing. I mean, this is one of the great things about this Friday show is we get together, we talk about a lot of different things, we talk
Great
about the future,
ideas. Yeah.
and we try to solve a problem that we see currently, and then we just kind of blow it up on a grander scale.
Yeah.
And it gets us excited because
Yeah.
it could be a real thing, because
We're-
nothing's
Yeah.
impossible.
We're using our God-given gift of creativity and thought, right? This is most things are like inspiration, etc. So anyway, it's pretty cool.
I think that's awesome.
Pretty cool. I like it. Can you imagine just the curriculum of that? just setting all that up.
Hmm.
I mean, it'd be kind of cool. Like you actually flip through, kind of like a master class.
And I
Have you
think
seen a master class?
it will make schooling more affordable, right? Because now that professor from Harvard,
Hey,
the money's not going to Harvard, right? It's going to him, in a way.
So think of it this way, right? So what I like about it is that an example would be the master class, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would actually learn from somebody who's in the industry, as opposed to a professor who's even been in the industry but has learned theory. You made that very clear in our last conversation. Hey, you put out some pretty good videos, but in the real world, it doesn't happen that way.
Right. Yeah.
So learning from somebody who is actually a person that is a performer in the industry that you're trying to learn from.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine learning from like Dre or or if you wanted to be a rapper, you learn from Eminem's master class? I mean, they have those, right?
They do have guitars where you can actually get
Right.
online courses through, like Keith Urban, for example. He's doing a
Yeah.
guitar thing,
Yeah.
and they can evaluate your stuff.
I mean, that's just another step.
Mhm.
Getting your college education that way. It'd be kind of cool.
I think it's awesome because everything's going towards subscription plans in a way, but now you can kind of subscribe to the
Yeah.
teacher and get good quality content and actually learn
And then
in your
get
own
graded on.
pace. Yeah, and
Get
fit
your-
it into your schedule.
Get a degree based on your, basically.
Because all the tests are standard,
Yeah.
but it's the content and the teacher that you choose to help
It's
you
a
through
great
it.
idea.
It's like having a mentor. It's having
It's a
that
great idea.
motivator to get you to that next level because everybody has a weak subject.
I mean, everyone's been doing it in the past, like Tony Robbins, right? All this, all of his. I mean, it's the same thing, right? It's just getting a college education.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. It's awesome.
P.S. Good morning.
Good morning.
Awesome.
Top of the morning to you. So hey, looks like we're getting close to time.
And who knows what we'll discuss next week, but you just never know. So you just gotta stay tuned in.
It's a great
Hit like,
conversation.
subscribe. I'm doing all that stuff they do on YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment.
Yeah. Subscribe
And
and hit that bell.
Just like last time, we said we were gonna give out free T-shirt or something.
Yeah.
So we will. So like and subscribe, share.
Yeah.
Sharing will get us
P.S.
around
Good
too.
morning.
Entertaining show. If you get nothing out of it, at least you get something different every Friday. Just tune into us. You just never know what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
One day we could be the people that spark your next $1 million
Yeah,
idea
your
or
idea.
invention.
Yeah, exactly.
Just give us some credit.
Yeah.
Hey, you heard it here from us.
Yeah, maybe half of a percentage.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's recorded, so we've got the data points.
Yep, data points. And then tune into his 2-minute trainer.
2-minute trainer.
Learn about what was it? Napoleon
Napoleon
Hill, right? Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich, a great book.
Great book. I even listened to it on audio more than once.
Yeah, it's awesome.
There's a secret.
Positive thinking.
Positive thinking. And a lot of it is what's that called?
It's like faith, like in the Bible.
Yes.
Knock and the
I
door will
forget.
be open. Seek and you will find.
Right. There's a term for it though, right? Positive affirmative.
Yeah, affirmations.
Affirmations. That's it.
Positive affirmations.
Yes. So speak positively. Bring life
Yeah.
to your idea.
Bring into reality what you've thought.
Yep. And just have fun.
I mean, it's funny because like all inventions have been that way, right?
Mhm.
It's like kind of like
Yeah, just like why they call these people that have these inventions mad scientists, right? But they're so passionate about what they do.
they had such a belief.
Oh yeah, they look crazy, but they're so passionate.
Yeah,
Like we talked about Back to the Future last time.
I love
Doc.
Back to the Future.
I mean, he was so passionate, had the wild hair. He was
didn't
like
care
the
what he
perfect.
looked like, yeah.
He was the perfect mad scientist. But he was like, making breakthroughs and having epiphanies, and he was just exciting. I wish I had a science teacher that was kind of like that actually. But anyway, that's a different topic.
Yeah, maybe one day we can wear lab coats.
Oh yeah, for one of our segments, we can actually get into it a little bit, right?
Yeah, it'd be like the
Have a
PS Good
theme that
Morning
we're-
Mad Scientist.
Yeah. Have a theme of the day, and we'll already be prepared.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty cool.
have like safety goggles and everything.
We can actually do an experiment, a live experiment on this video.
Have like a beaker and stuff. It'd be funny. All right then.
All right.
Take
PS
care.
Good morning.
Yes.
See you next Friday.
All right.
Bye.
See you. Bye.